Hi there, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So let's do part 2 of the handicap videos. Looking at the following races, we'll be looking at the handicap plate, the Muir, the county hurdle and the Martin pipe. The other races have been done in the first video. So the handicap plate is the 2.5 mile handicap chase, and there's 3 that I've highlighted for this race previously. The first one was That's Alright Gino, who finished second last time out at Cheltenham behind Stage Star. Now, for me, Stage Star is a graded horse, and he was a graded horse running in a handicap. That's Alright Gino actually ran a good race behind him, pushed him a long way. You can see actually he had a win PR of 94.58%, which means during the run he shortened by nearly 95% of his odds, suggesting he went well for a long way. And it was only right at the finish did Stage Star, was it clear that Stage Star was going to win. They were 10 lengths clear of Unexpected Party. Unexpected Party, I think it's called. Or Unaccepted Party, it's a silly name, I think. But as you can see, this was That's Alright Gino's first try over 2.5 mile over fences. And I thought that really brought out a bit more improvement in him. He's only rated 141. Which I think is a good mark, and the fact that, as I said, he was beaten in my opinion by a graded horse last time out, there's still more to come from him over that 2.5 mile trip, and it wouldn't surprise me. Well, I think he'll go very, very close in this plate handicap chase, and he's a bigger price than I thought. There's Unexpected Party. That's Alright Gino is 16s to 20s. I actually think 20s is a decent price here, because this is where he's going to run. After that run, when he was second, that's got to be where they end up with him in this race. He's now had 5 runs over fences, so he's got plenty of experience. And yeah, this is going to be where he's going to end up. And 20 to 1, I think, is a good price about him. The second horse I wanted to talk about was French Dynamite. I highlighted him at the beginning of the season. Unfortunately, he's done quite well since then. And he's actually rated 152 in Ireland. Probably means he's going to be about 158, 159 in England. And to be honest, I think he'll run in the Ryanair now as well, especially as Alaho is out. It looks a little bit more open. Obviously, we like Fakadoudarie. I've always said he's, in my opinion, the second best 2.5 mile chaser behind Alaho. French Dynamite, I think, will end up there instead. So if you haven't had a bet on French Dynamite in the plate, I probably wouldn't at this stage until I knew he was running. The third horse, yeah, is Simply the Best. He's unbelievably well handicapped. He's £5 lower than when winning at the Cheltenham Festival in 2020. He's actually £9 lower than when he was second here in a handicap when he was ridden by Harry Cobden, because at the time he wasn't owned by David Maxwell. So he's £9 lower than when he ran in that. Yeah, this would all be about who's going to ride it. If he turns up at the festival and David Maxwell is still injured, and I don't think Harry Cobden will ride him, I think Harry Cobden will ride the Ildotto. But if another Paul Nicholls jockey was on him, for example Bryony Frost, I'd be really, really keen on Simply the Bets to go really close here. And he's a massive price, because his price is including 40s, 20s, 25s. His price is including that David Maxwell will be on board, who unfortunately he was getting better. I actually think he's got like a little bit regressed a little bit recently. I think he was starting to get the hang of it, and I wasn't too put off by him riding. But unfortunately, I think he's just had a few bad rides recently and put me off him a bit more again. But yeah, if Simply the Bets turned up for this race with a professional jockey on, not David, I think he'd go really close. But with that in mind, with Simply the Bets unsure who's going to ride him, French Dynamite unlikely to run there, That's Alright Gino I think is a good bet at, what did I say, was 16s or even 20s, because this is the only race he should surely run in. Yeah, 20 to 1. I don't believe he'll run anywhere else. Moving on to the Muir, quite an open race, as you can see. I mean, some bookies are going 8 to 1 favourite. For me, that's why Mr. Coffee has to run here and not the National Hunt Challenge Cup. The National Hunt Challenge Cup, he could run against Gaillard de Menil or Ramillies, or both. I don't think he'll run against both because they're both owned by the same person. But they're like 6-4 and 5-2, so whichever one runs is going to be a short price favourite. You're not going to get a short price favourite in this race, the Muir. I think they thought they were going to win the race at Uttoxeter on Saturday, and that's why pre-race they were saying, oh, he's going to be running in the National Hunt Chase. Because he didn't win, he only went up £5 instead of probably 6, 7, 8 that they were probably expecting. And with that in mind, he still gets in the Muir at 145. It was second in it last year, granted off a lower mark, but Sam Whaley-Cohen actually gave it a poor ride. He was far too confident on Mr. Coffee, didn't kick on, and got out-battled by Chambard, who was actually top-rated on our ratings that day at 72 point something, I think it was, on Betfair. So yeah, we had a 1-2, a massive top-rated winner, beating RTR2. The form generally works out well. He just about gets in. Surely he goes here. If he goes here, Mr. Coffee, I'd be really, really confident of a huge run. And if Derek O'Connor's on board, I think he wins. I really do. Even with Mr. Incredible potentially being well handicapped, I think Mr. Coffee is still well handicapped as well. That was actually the only horse I had in the Muir at this stage. So we'll move on to the County Hurdle. And there are 4 that I've highlighted here. They are West Cork, who's just made my each way treble that I posted earlier today. I really like him. He is £2 lower than when fourth last year. He hasn't taken offences. He's back over hurdles. He's actually still lightly raced for his age. You can see this when he was fourth. That was only 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. His 8th run. He was running a competitive handicap hurdle. He ran well. He didn't get the clearest of runs. He's £2 lower now. He is running tomorrow in a 2-mile handicap at Kelso. Hopefully, tomorrow or Friday. Friday, I believe, sorry. Hopefully, he gets beat, finishes second, stays off the same mark, turns up for the County Hurdle. I think he'll go really well. The second horse that I'd love to see in the County Hurdle is Epatante. Currently rated 153. She is not going to win a Champion Hurdle. And if she runs in a Mayor's Hurdle, she's going to take on Honeysuckle. If she ran in a County Hurdle off top weight, and you know, even if they could put a £7 claimer on, I think Epatante would win. I really do. I think, as I've said in previous video with Bob Ollinger, when you run a graded horse in a handicap off top weight, they often run really well. And Paul Nicholls is starting to learn that and starting to do that more and more. Obviously, he did it with Stage Star. He did it with Brave Man's Game last year. Lompress did it this year. There's been a couple of other examples that I can't think who they were. Even in the Northumberland Plate last year, Trushan. Top weight, because they're a graded horse, they can give away that weight into handicaps. I really think Epatante would win the County Hurdle if she ran in it off 153. I think she would. The way she won at Doncaster, beating handicappers, was very impressive. So yeah, I would like to see Epatante run in the County Hurdle. I don't know whether you can get a price for her. Let's have a look. You can't. She's not in the County Hurdle yet. But it wouldn't surprise me if suddenly she appeared at one point. The next horse, I don't really like him for the County Hurdle at this stage, but I think he might turn up there. Favour, I've highlighted him as a horse for Kelso. He's £9 lower than when beaten at Kelso the last twice, when finishing third. That's where he's going to run, and that's the More Battle Hurdle. And generally, that's a bonus race. If you can win that and then win a race at the Cheltenham Festival, you can you get a bonus. Now, it'd be interesting to see if Favour did win that, whether they went More Battle Hurdle, County Hurdle with Favour. It'll also be interesting to see if they end up running West Cork in that, in the More Battle Hurdle. Just keep an eye out for who's entered in the More Battle Hurdle for Dan Skelton, if they do a bonus. The final horse I wanted to talk about for the County Hurdle was Glory and Fortune, who I highlighted earlier this week. Dropped £4 to now just £1 higher than when winning the Betfair. Last year, Glory and Fortune ended up in the Champion Hurdle, and you can see, finished 5th, beaten just 8 3/4 lengths. 8 3/4 lengths, could run in a handicap of 144. £1 higher than when winning the Betfair Hurdle. And when he won the Betfair Hurdle, he beat I Like to Move It and First Street, who are both much higher rated and both probably champion hurdle bound. Granted, they're not going to win the champion hurdle, but they're going to end up in the champion hurdle. Whereas Glory and Fortune is now back into the county hurdle mix. He's very, very interesting. And I think he's a bigger price than he should be. Let's have a look. Glory and Fortune. 20s, 25 to 1. That's got to be where he runs. Bet Victor actually doing non-runner no bet at 25 to 1. I think that's a great bet. Glory and Fortune at 25 to 1 for the county hurdle. A race where he's gone well before in the champion hurdle. He is down to our winnable mark. He just had one bad run last time out of Newbury when the ground might have been too fast, sorry. We're saying it was good, but it might have been firm based on the times. I think they left it as good to try and make sure they didn't have too many non-runners. I mean, if they ended up with a Betfair Hurdle with 7 runners because all of them had been taken out due to the good firm or firm going, it would have looked a terrible, a terrible race. So yeah, Glory and Fortune is definitely one that I would be keen to add to your portfolio for the county hurdle. The final race that I want to talk about is the Martin Pipe, and I've mentioned a few already in my previous video for the Coral Cup. So they were Might I, who I think will actually run here, between 10 and 12s. 10 to 1 non-runner no bet is a good price, I think. Lorcan probably to ride. This is his trip. This will be his grade. I think he would. Any horses rated 0 to 145, I think Might I would beat them. He is currently rated 145, so he just gets in at the top. So he'd be taking on lesser rivals potentially. Obviously, if there was a Gallop and Deschamps in the race somewhere, it'd be unfortunate. But yeah, I really like him. Langadan could run here because of unfinished business. I'd want to know for definite he would running here. Indefatigable is well handicapped, so could run here. Indefatigable. 33 to 1, 25's non-runner no bet. That's probably a good price in my opinion. I think she was 25 when she won it, but she's £6 lower this year. Cobbler's Dream is one that we've got coming up. Cobbler's Dream was second in this race last year to Banbridge, in front of Hollow Games, in front of I Liked the Way You're Thinking, and in front of Party Business. The last two mentioned finished first and second in a handicap at Aintree afterwards. Hollow Games I thought was a Potemps final horse this year, and Banbridge has been running in Grade 1 events. Cobbler's Dream could run off the same mark here in this Martin Pipe of 136, and you can get 25 to 1 non-runner no bet or 33 to 1 without that concession. I think they're good prices. I think Cobbler's Dream will run well again. Beaten probably by a well handicapped Banbridge. Yeah, I think he'll run a really good race. The final two that I have highlighted, I've highlighted Favre de Champdou, but I have a feeling he might be running in the Albert Bartlett now. And with that in mind, I'm looking for a Gigginstown horse trained by Gordon Elliott. Obviously, Gigginstown have won this twice with Sir Deschamps and Don Polly, so graded horses. And Gigginstown with Gordon Elliott have finished Fell, second, third, first, third, second. That Fell was Column of Fire, who's probably going to win it. So if Favre de Champdou isn't their runner, maybe this one is. Cool Survivor, who they have suggested is going to run in the Martin Pipe. With that in mind, look at his previous efforts, second and fourth. Where were they? His second at Cork came behind Hidden Valley Lake, who is favourite for the Albert Bartlett. And his fourth was in a Grade 1 recently behind Goodland, Absolute Notions and Sandock Lagain. All very good horses. Cool Survivor just wasn't good enough to get involved that day. If he ran in a handicap, he'd be very, very interesting. And where is he in the betting? He's quite short in the betting. 12's non-runner no bet. Again, I don't mind that. If he turns up there, I think you've got a good price about a horse that is likely to run a big race. I think a few of those at the top of the market aren't going to run. I wouldn't have a problem. I think you could end up with 4 or 5 in this race. But if you've got Langadan, for example, a bit of 8 to 1. We'll say you've got him at 10s. Might I at 10s. Indefatigable at 25s. Cobbler's Dream at 25s. And Cool Survivor at 12s. You've got 5 selections there. 10s, 10s, 12s, 25s and 25s. And I actually think all of them would go really close. And I'd be disappointed if the winner wasn't in there. And I don't mind doing that with the non-runner, no-bet concession on a few of those. In that if Mai Tai doesn't run there, or if Langadan doesn't run there, or Indefatigable doesn't run there, and they run in like the Coral Cup, you're still going to get, you're going to get your money back, and you're going to have like 3 runners with big chances. I don't mind doing this non-runner, no-bet thing if you've got 3 or 4 that you're not sure where they're going to run, and you really can give them good chances. And I think I can give all of those that I've just mentioned good chances. So yeah, who do I not think will run? Epatante, I don't think will run in the County Hurdle. Favori de Champdou, I don't think now will run in the Martin Pipe. French Dynamite, I don't think will run in the Plate. Who do I really like? West Cork, Glory and Fortune, That's Alright Gino, Mr. Coffee. Yeah, I like them all, to be honest. All of the ones I've mentioned, I like them all. There's just a few that I think might not run there now.